Chapter 4. Trixie blinked a few times and stared at Twilight in confusion. Come again. Twilight took on a solemn tone and explained herself. When I heard your name, it sparked a memory. A shame on one I completely forgotten. We have met before, a long time ago. Twilight paused to collect her thoughts. Back when I was a foal, I was very curious. She chuckled. I suppose that's never changed. Anyway, I was walking through the park when I spotted a filly sitting on a bench reading a book. It looked like she was enjoying it. Suddenly, she got up and left, leaving the book behind her. Curious, I trotted up to it and read the title. It was one I've never read before. I forget the title, sadly. I picked it up and started reading it. I became completely immersed in the book, and before I knew it, I was walking my way home with it. Twilight's ears seemed to droop even more. I spent all night reading it. I had completely forgotten it belonged to some pony else. When I realized this, I had no idea how I would find her and return it. I noticed it was a library book, so the next day I secretly snuck it back into the castle library. Must have been my shame. That filly was you, Trixie. You were loving that book, and I selflessly stole it from you. You didn't even get to finish it. Twilight looked Trixie directly in the eyes. Do you think you could ever forgive me? Trixie stared at Twilight. She had no idea what the mayor was talking about. She didn't even have a single memory of this. No, that is why I'm mad at you at all. Twilight blinked. Then what is this about? You're a spy of the Greengrass, obviously. Trixie almost sighed. Twilight stared at Trixie, bewildered for a few seconds before breaking out into laughter. That's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. You think I'm a spy, Trixie? How in the equestrian did you get that idea? Trixie was a bit stunned. This was not the reaction she was expecting. She was expecting to get her to get defensive or angry or say something like, you can't prove I'm a really good agent for the Duke, and I was sent here to spy on the Galaxy Rangers to learn their secrets and weaknesses so Greengrass could exploit them. She's a better actor than I expected. Trixie thought. That was almost convincing. Okay then, tell me this. Why did you have a letter addressed to Greengrass in your bag? Trixie smirked. Let's see you get out of this one. You looked through my things? Twilight said, mortified. Her face turned a shade pink, much to Trixie's confusion. Yes, and I found something interesting. Trixie responded, like that letter. If you're innocent, why are you in contact with Greengrass? He doesn't contact any pony for no reason. Because his birthday's coming up, that's it, Twilight said after getting her wits back to an edge to it. Trixie laughed. Ha ha ha! She had Twilight trapped now. Ha! You expect me to believe that? The Duke's birthday is in almost 2 months. Exactly, Twilight said simply. What? Was all Trixie could say. This is the last minute for me, but things are so hectic lately, I almost forgot about it. 2 months. It makes no sense for you to do it this early, Trixie proclaimed. I think it's good to be prepared. That way I could just send it at the right time when it's all done and not worry about it, Twilight explained. Trixie was baffled by this, but decided to move on to her next point. Fine. Like Greengrass. You're telling me you just like to send random nobles birthday letters? I wouldn't send one to that prick if I had any choice in the matter, believe me. Twilight had a look of disgust on her face. He's a distant cousin of mine. I may not like him, but it would be rude not to give him anything. Trixie's jaw dropped. She didn't know this. Okay then. Why did you lie about being a journalist? Trixie asked. I asked my assistant to find out if any pony named Twilight Sparkle was a member of the Journalist Guild. There isn't any! Twilight hung her head. Okay, you got me. I lied about that. I just wanted to ask ponies about the Galaxy Rangers, so I used me being a journalist as a way to get info. Plus, I thought it would be good training. Trixie raised an eyebrow. Training! Why really become a journalist? Twilight explained tearfully. It was Trixie's turn to laugh. Yeah, right. That's a good one. Your father is a Night Court noble. Like you would lower yourself to a position like that. Twilight's face turned to one of intense fury. The glare Trixie got was enough to make her back up a step. Oh, and what makes you think you know what's best for my life? Twilight demanded. She asked a gun to Trixie's face. Well, being the daughter of a viceroy, there's just so much you could do with your life, Tracy backpedaled. Surely a pony of your education and background would want to do more with your life than that. Twilight glared terrified, and Tracy started to sweat. Twilight sighed and dissented. Figures. You're just like my dad. All that matters are my rank and status. She turned bitter. Never what I want. Tracy realized that maybe she blundered into a touchy subject for the mayor. Slowly became very awkward. The sudden silence between the two emphasized that. Tracy couldn't help her burning curiosity to decide to ask a question she probably best unasked. So, why do you want to be a journalist instead of, say, a member of the Night Court? Tracy asked, already preparing for the worst. But she had to ask it. It made no sense to her at all. So I don't end up like you, obviously, Twilight answered. What? Tracy cried out indignantly. I like the truth. I like learning how the world works. I used to take apart clocks as a fool just to see how they tick. That's my passion, finding the truth. I learned long ago that there is no truth in the Night Court. It is nothing for me. I thought it would be more fun to travel the world, meet new ponies, and uncover the truths of this world. There's just so much for me to learn, to discover. Twilight gave a chuckle. Actually, I've always wanted to start my own magazine, one that uncovers the scientific truths of the world and reports new scientific discoveries. Doesn't that sound so much better than living in fear of being backstabbed by some noble or constantly lying and cheating to get what you want? Twilight asked. Tracy was a bit surprised. She never thought about journalism that way. She knew the truth could easily be twisted to whatever a pony wanted. Greengrass has done it hundreds of times. But Twilight seemed like the type of pony who would stubbornly dig up the truth, regardless of the dangers and consequences. Tracy hated to admit it, but she completely misjudged the mayor. That doesn't sound so bad, Tracy admitted. Your father really doesn't approve? Oh, of course not, Twilight said, full of bitterness. Have me become the next Greengrass. Tracy really needed to stop asking these questions. She swallowed. Look, I'm sorry about breaking your things. It was dumb of me. I got this idea in my head, and maybe I shouldn't have thought about it a bit more. Twilight's face softened. It's all right. I know it must be tough always having to look behind your back. She extended a hoof. Friends? Tracy hesitated a moment before grabbing the hoof and giving it a shake. Friends! Good. I hope this teaches you a valuable lesson about not breaking into other ponies' things and the importance of respecting a pony's boundaries and not jumping to conclusions. Twilight said in a tone that was a little too self-righteous for Trixie's liking. After a little more chatter, the two departed for home. Trixie was glad to have a new ally. She was relieved to learn that Twilight never intended to learn the Galaxy Rangers' identities. Instead, was more interested in learning how their powers worked. This might actually be useful, because Trixie didn't have a clue about that one, and just saying magic wasn't a satisfactory answer. Trixie rubbed her face. She just wanted to get into bed and forget this miserable day ever happened. She ignored the pain in her body and limped home. Twilight gave her notes a third read-through. The residual magic left over by Pink's attack was interesting, but it didn't give her as much data as she liked. It's definitely powerful magic. She hardly believed the levels of residual magic left over for that one attack. She cursed herself for not being there when the attack was used. She didn't think her pocket magic detector would be able to handle that level of magic, though. So you had to order one in the morning. Twilight wondered what would generate that level of power. It seemed unbelievable. She guessed her theory of it being the elements of harmony was probably correct. They did defeat Corona once before, after all. She couldn't think of anything else it would be. Besides, Ponyville was next to the ruins of the Castle of Two Sisters, the last place they were used by the princess herself. How did they get back there, though? Weren't they on display in a museum in Carolot? Curious. Help, please? A mare's voice called out. Twilight spotted a Pegasus mare with a pale grayish opal mane and a pale grayish Persian blue coat and a pink bow on top, struggling with a bunch of packages on her back. Looked like they were about to fall. Twilight instantly rushed to her aid and grabbed her with her magic. Thanks, you're a lifesaver. No problem, always glad, Twilight replied happily. I have no idea what my sister even wants with all this stuff, the mare complained. She always orders stuff that we don't even need. I really should ban those mail order catalogs from the house. I'm Flair, by the way. Twilight, nice to meet you. I'm sorry to be a bother, but do you think you can help me put them in the house? Flair asked, a bit embarrassed. It isn't a problem at all, Twilight chirped. The two trotted up to a small yellow townhouse with windows that had black frames. The windows had flower pots in front of them. Fleur opened the door with a key and the two went inside. Twilight levitated the boxes behind her. It was arranged nicely but a bit messy. Books, papers, cans, and various other things littered the floor here and there. Fleur rolled her eyes. It's just my sister. She never cleans up after herself. She closed the door behind her. Put him right there. She pointed towards a spot near the door. Twilight stacked the boxes neatly, 3 by 2. Twilight giggled. Just like my brother. He's helpless. Would you like some coffee or something else to drink? Fleur asked. Coffee sounds great. Black, I'm going to have a late night study session anyway, Twilight said, nodding. Sure, be right back. So whatever you like. Fleur went back into the back area towards what was presumably the kitchen. Twilight sat on a nearby brown couch. It only took a few minutes for Fleur to come back with a tray on her back, with 2 coffee cups on it, a bowl of sugar cubes, and a spoon next to it. She put on a small glass coffee table in front of the couch. Twilight grabbed a cup of her magic. Thank you, she sipped it. It's good. Nice and strong, just how like Twilight liked it. Fleur grabbed a few sugar cubes and put them in her cup. She took a spoon from her tray in her mouth and started stirring. Twilight looked around. Nice place you have here. Do you live here alone with your sister? Fleur stopped stirring and shook her head. No, we have another roommate coming here. Her name is Sweet Cream Scoops. Fleur examined Twilight. Say, aren't you the one that was warning every pony about the monster earlier? Twilight nodded emphatically. That's right. It gave me quite a scare when it suddenly popped up in the library. Fleur tilted her head. Huh. But I thought it appeared near Sweet Apple Anchors. When it appeared near the library, I teleported there so I had less of a chance of hurting some pony, and it would be easier to warn and evacuate the ponies, Twilight explained. Fleur looked astonished. That's amazing. Where in Equestria did you learn to do that? Twilight blushed. Oh, it was an old tome that I found a few years ago in a yard sale. It's a hard spell, but the fact that it's so talented makes it fun. Fleur nodded. I see. I was right to choose you. She grinned. What are you? Twilight suddenly felt very weak and sleepy. She could barely keep herself standing up. Twilight looked at her coffee cup with some realization. Drugs? She needed to get out of here. She glared her horn to teleport out. But suddenly she felt a sharp pain in her horn. Out of nowhere, Fleur suddenly closed the gap between the two of them and struck Twilight right in the tip of her horn. It was deafening as he collapsed to the ground. Can't have you do that. Nice try, though, Fleur remarked. Twilight felt her consciousness fading and everything went black. Twilight awoke with her head throbbing. Everything was blurry. Twilight tried to get up, but found herself unable to move. The ground felt very cold and it made her shiver. Her sight gradually returned to her as she looked around. She was in a large room that looked like a cathedral. The room was lit by nothing but candles. The lighting was too hard for her to see the ceiling. It was nothing but pitch blackness. She could see something like runes on the ground in the shape of a circle. Next to it was a large silver orb on a richly decorated pedestal. Twilight tried to move again. She heard something rattle. She felt like her body was bound completely by chains. She tried to use her magic. Nothing happened. She could feel her magic, but her horn didn't react to any time to use her spells. She was trapped. Say, have you heard it's possible for a pony to survive 2 million milliamps of electricity? Fleur's voice startled Twilight. A lightless sparkle of electricity suddenly thrust in front of Twilight's face. She backed away, tear as best as she could. Fleur's grinning face appeared in front of Twilight. Do you want to find out? Twilight quickly shook her head. Good. Don't try anything. I know you're restrained, but I'm not taking any chances. Why are you doing this? Twilight stammered. Fleur just shrugged. It pays the bills. Now shut up. Boss Lady will be here soon. Twilight did as she was instructed. Fleur made sure to keep her shock gauntlet close, seemed to be daring Twilight to try something. She didn't. Fleur had a mocking smile. In a few moments she heard hoofsteps. She turned towards the sound. It was coming from a stone staircase. It sounded like multiple ponies were coming down it. Twilight froze when she saw the figure emerge. Is this the pony I asked for? Corona, Queen of the Sun, asked, coming in front of Twilight, examining her closely. Behind her was a purple baby dragon that was watching the scene apprehensively. Yep, I think you'll be impressed, Flare implied. She's got magic skills I've never seen. Even that lady about Trixie can't compare, I think. Corona paused for thought, and her horn started to glow a gold color. Yes, I can feel it. With magical talent like this, it's very rare. She'll be perfect. You hear that? Flare said happily. The boss lady thinks you're perfect. Corona twisted annoyance at being called that, but said nothing. Perfect for what? Twilight asked, already drained the answer. You'll be the first pony to become one with a star beast and become a champion of the sun, Corona explained. Twilight stared in horror. Star beasts were the very stars in the sky. Even the sun was one. Not much was known about them. Even the princess able to move them across the sky at will knew very little about them. They were very old, older than even the planet. They were alive, but it was not clear if they had sapience or not. Lately, the stars had been disappearing. It was attributed to Corona or monsters. Somehow it was using them and their power to create monsters. Twilight gulped. Now she wanted to put one in her. Interesting cutie mark, Corona commented. A starburst surrounded by 5 solar stars. She smirked. This'll work nicely. I said you already have a connection to the stars. The union will be a simple thing. Move her to the circle. Sure thing, boss lady. Flare threw her shock gauntlet off and grabbed Twilight rather roughly and threw her into the circle. Twilight was in pain when she hit the ground. Corona walked up to a small balcony that overlooked her circle. Her horn glowed brightly. On the ceiling, stars appeared and suddenly started glittering. It would be pretty if Twilight wasn't so terrified. Instead of 1 star beast, I think I'll get you 6 instead. Rather fitting, I think, Corona said. The circle of runes started glowing around Twilight. You'll never get away with this, Twilight cried out defiantly. The Razors will stop you! Twilight struggled against her bonds. Corona sighed. You paint me like a villain of all my sister's subsects, poisoned by her lies as you are. I just want the best for all. I know you will want the Rangers dead. Twilight stopped struggling, blinked in surprise. What? No, I don't want them dead. In fact, I think they'll be our salvation, Corona explained. The elements of harmony granted them my power, and my sister and I've never seen. She looked uncomfortable. There has to be a reason. I worried there might be a crisis in the future. That's why the Galaxy Rangers were born. That's why I will only be subdued until I convince them to turn to my side, or by other methods. Oh, so that's why you haven't used more drastic measures. Gotcha. Flare chimed in. The rooms became brighter, and the 6 stars of the ceiling started to glow green and crackle of energy. Even without her horn, Twilight felt intense magic in the room. It pulsed oppressively, became hard to breathe. It was like nothing she had ever felt before. The stars shined even brighter, suddenly flew out into Twilight. She gasped, collapsed to the ground. Her body started jerking and contorting uncontrollably. Pain. That was the only thing Twilight could feel. Her whole body burned with sense intensity. She went blind. She screamed. She screamed until her voice became raspy. She would have given anything, done anything if it meant the pain would stop. Her whole body started glowing with a black aura that actually seemed to be absorbing the light around her. Her eyes suddenly widened when she saw her front hooves were growing feathers. Her screaming intensified. The black energy around her started seeping out of Twilight and onto the orb next to the circle of rooms. Welcome, my new servant. I dub thee Clovis the Raven.